Risotto, an Italian classic. I love making it, and people say to me, can you cheat and stick it in the oven? No, you can't. If you want to make it properly, you've got to do this. It takes about 20 minutes. You've got to stir it. I've got to tell you a story. Antonio Colicchio on television years ago was doing a live thing on This Morning, and he did risotto. And he had 4 pans going on the hob, all at different stages, which I'm not going to do. But he did, and he got terribly mixed up and said, I'm sorry, I don't know which one I'm doing now. So he made a great joke of it. It was a wonderful man. Anyway, he says you've got to take your time and add the stock slowly, and you'll see what I mean when I get going. So the ingredients are arborio rice, turmeric, stock. I've got chicken stock, which is you can use a cube if you like, and I'm going to get going. So onto the hob, and I've got onions and garlic in there. Now I'm just cooking these to reduce or get rid of any moisture, any water, because the whole point of this is you actually dry cook the rice. So I've had these on for a minute or two, and these onions and garlic, they have now lost their water. So add rice. I'm adding about 6 ounces of arborio rice, which is one of the Italian rice, and there are so many. There's carnaroli, and I don't know what they are. I like arborio because it does what I want it to do. It's a pudding rice basically, and it's very, very sticky, but it becomes stodgy unless you do this, which you're cooking out some of the starch, which is the best way. You're dry cooking the rice. At this point, I'm going to add one of my favourite spices, which is turmeric, to make it yellow. And yellow risotto just lifts it. It sort of makes it a lemony colour. Starts off being orange. Oh, the aroma from this pan is now turmeric, garlic and onion. Very, very nice. And I'm going to stir that over a medium heat, and the rice will start popping in a minute. This is what you mustn't leave it, I'm afraid, but have a glass of wine handy, or the radio on, or a cup of tea, so that you can just keep an eye on it. Right, that's good. Now I add about 1/6 of a bottle of wine. And I'm just going to let that, just mix it in. So the wine's evaporated, and you can see that the rice is beginning to plump up a bit. I'm going to add some stock, not a lot, probably about, I don't know, about 4 fluid ounces, but don't measure it, just add a bit. And let that cook quite vigorously for about a minute, and that should then have reduced even more. So turn the gas up a little. And the whole point of this is that you let the stock evaporate slowly. So the whole thing takes about 20 minutes. And it's a slow process, but think of something else. Plan something, whatever, while you're doing this. It's a fairly boring thing to do, but it's worth it. It really makes this risotto fabulous at the end. So this is evaporating quite fast, perhaps a bit too fast. Turn it down a bit. And we get to the point where it's looking a bit like rice pudding. You can see the consistency. You can see that lovely yellow colour as well. And you get to that point, and then in a second you can see that there's very little liquid at the bottom of that pan. Oh, this is going to be so nice. I too often eat risottos that are too dry. This ends up like this actually, and the great thing is you can leave it for an hour at the end and put more water in and reheat it, which is what they do in restaurants. Right, that is just perfect to add a bit more stock. So the magic of editing again, this is evaporated in no time. It's probably had, in reality, to this stage, it's had about 18 to 20 minutes with gradual addition of the stock. Now that, if you look at the consistency, I suppose it looks a bit like a porridge really. It's just the right consistency, and it's al dente. I just had a test. It's slightly to the tooth in the middle. I'm going to add some very, very slimming butter, hard butter from the fridge, and that is going to make it, it's going to be just so silky and lovely. Butter has so many properties. You don't need too much of it, for heaven's sake. Enjoy. Then I'm going to add some parmesan cheese. I'm also going to add, because I had them in the fridge, some peppers. for colour. Lovely. Red pepper. Not cooked. Bit of parsley. And I'm reserving some of the cheese to put on top of the risotto at the end. You could add creme fraiche. You could add cream. I don't think it needs it, to be honest, but this is the most wonderful celebration of colours. It's parsley, green, it's red peppers, it's yellow turmeric. And remember, at this stage, before you put all these bits in, you could leave it aside off the heat with a plate over the top. 1 hour later, come back, and this is what they do in restaurants, add a bit more stock or water, add your bits and pieces, reheat, and serve it. And now, that's exactly what I'm going to do, is serve it up. And you can see this. I mean, I've had risottos which are really too dry. This is lovely. Do you know, this is a meal in itself. What else do you need? A hunk of bread, ciabatta bread. Dip it in olive oil. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? And now I'm going to put a little bit of cheese on top, much as you like, really. And that is your risotto.